On today's Fixing Bugs and Stuff, we're going to fully restore a pop-out window. Okay, this is a pop-out window that we're going to be taking care of today. It's on the driver's side. It's the rear passenger window. And as you can see, it just needs some work. I'll show you the problem area here. The gasket in between the glass and the aluminum trim needs to be replaced. I know we've all seen the videos of this being replaced. It's that T rubber that gets placed in here. As you can see, I replaced mine probably maybe 5 years ago, and it's kind of molded itself against the frame of the body of the car, which is fine. I mean, it'll still keep the water out, but we will have to change this outer rubber piece if it starts to like crack, starts to separate, and then it becomes a problem. Then it'll start to leak. So I'm gonna show you how to take it apart. All the way, and then we're gonna replace some gaskets. So first, we're gonna take off this rubber here. I'm gonna cut it. I'll cut it right here, close as possible. Then I'm gonna pull on it. As you can see, it's pulling out already. I'll cut the rest of it. Then it should gingerly come right off. Anyway, you're gonna pull out the rubber. Now we're gonna remove this hinge piece, and it has like Phillips head screws on it. You can see here. Got Phillips head screws. We'll take those out. Now these have like these screws and this washer, so make sure you save these. And this screw right here, I can show you, has been rounded off at some point. This guy right here. So I gotta figure out how to get that out, but that's what I'll do next. Finally got that screw out, so I can take off this hinge here. I'm gonna put it in here so I don't lose it. This is all aluminum. Just be careful, you have aluminum threads in here. So this is loose now. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take off the hardware on this side. So that's next. But we gotta get this hardware off. There's a C-clip right here that you have to get out. And what you do is you take your screwdriver in here, and you kind of pry out the C-clip. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, but you take that C-clip out and this whole thing pops up. So let me do that now. Okay, you can see the C-clip right there. I was able to get it out, and this whole thing pops right off. No problems. I'll set this off to the side because I'm going to clean this up pretty good, and then put it back on later. So once that's out, you can push this pin down, and it should pop out the other side. If it gives you a little bit of trouble, you can take like a little rubber mallet and bang it slightly, not too hard. And this one just gave me a little bit of trouble. So let me grab the hammer to do that. Okay, I'm gonna use this hammer here, just to gently hit it here. That's all it takes. So you can see this is kind of rusted, so I'm just gonna replace it. So out with the old. But you can see where the C-clip was positioned on here, on that notch right there. Take the rubbers off here, and this is just a regular rubber. It's all chewed up, dried out. And there's another rubber in here you have to pull out. comes out. It has like a little boss on it. So that's for the outside. And this one here is for the inside. So this is inside. Sorry, this is inside, this is outside. So they're deteriorated. Throw those out, we're gonna replace those. What's next? We have to take off the aluminum trim, which should be fun. So first, you wanna pull it from where it's split here. So you hold onto the glass here, you pull. You gotta do it slowly. If you do it too hard, you will bend this here. I mean, it's aluminum, it will bend back, but if you bend it too much, it starts getting kinks in it and it'll look horrible. So once you start with one, this one's going pretty good. Then I wanna do the other side here. I'm gonna hold the glass down, kind of pull. So that one's already coming out already. Which is no big deal. And so you want to get it off the glass. Just be patient about it. So I'm gonna go on the other side. And now what I'm doing is I'm grabbing the glass here. I'm kind of pressing with my thumb. Kind of turning it. And I'm just gonna rock it back and forth. And it's out. So it takes a little bit of patience, but no big deal. I'm gonna sit off to the side. And this has rubber on it still. Take that off. The next thing you want to do is you want to clean this. Clean this side and then clean the other side. So you can clean it with anything, I mean glass cleaner. Right now I'm going to use WD-40 as it will break down some of the rubber residue. So let me do that now. WD-40. So use a flat scraper like this. I'm gonna go along. You don't have to really clean the middle of it. It's the edge where all the rubber is. So you can see it's starting to come off. And the WD-40 does help loosen it. So just go all the way around the edge and try to scrape as much as you can off. Take you hours to get every single little piece of film or whatever stain has been. It'll take you hours doing this. But for me, I'm not too worried about it since this car is going to be a patina look. So, but for those who are restoring, doing a full restoration, definitely take the time to get all the residue off. So I have the new rubber to go on. According to this, it's made in USA. And just the part number for it. You can see it. And it says it's used by USA by West Coast Metric. So, in case you guys were wondering, this comes a little twisted. It's not a big deal. The glass will stretch it out. So go ahead and put it on the glass. The old Sir Mix-a-Lot song, put it on the glass. Hopefully I won't get in trouble for saying that. I did say reference to Mix-a-Lot. For those of you who know who that is. If you do, probably around the same age as I am. Straighten it out, make sure it's straight as possible. So it's stretched on there pretty good. Some people like to heat this up. I do not. I want to keep it as elasticity as best as possible. So let me back up a little bit. So now we need to prep the aluminum trim. Basically, we need to clean the inside of here. As you can see, there is some residue. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna clean this out. And once I clean this out, then I'm gonna put some WD-40 in here and slip it onto the glass. And to get the rubber out of this channel, I use like a pick tool. And it seems like it's all up in this channel. So use a pick tool to get in here, scrape it out best you can. Clean it out. It's very brittle, this rubber is, so it'll come right out. Okay, spray the aluminum trim with, I cleaned it up real good. You can see in here. Cleaned up the aluminum trim pretty good, and I sprayed it with WD-40 already, so I'm ready to put it on. So I'm gonna start with the back here first. Get that on first. What you mainly want to do, you want to make sure that this rubber does not slip off. You want to keep it on the glass. So I'll gently push it in. I'll hold it from this side and then hold this trim here and then push it in. A little bit at a time. Okay, so I put like a clamp on here to hold it in place. Got some gloves on. And what happens is that this will spring back. Since it's already been taken apart and bent, it'll spring a little bit. This is just to hold it in place. No big deal. So you can see here, we just want to close the gap here. And basically, this trim will form around the glass itself. So at this point, I'm probably gonna take another clamp here and get it in closer. So you can see that brought it in a little tighter. And what we have to do is kind of manipulate this a little bit. And there's a little bit of a gap here. So we kind of have to hammer. When I mean by hammer, I'll show you what I mean. Hammer this in a little bit so it can turn and go inside of here, and then this should close. So I'm hammering out these corners here just to get the shape of the glass. I'm using like aluminum sheet. It's kind of small. Can't tell you what size it is, but what I'm doing is just hammering in the groove here. A lot of people, they hammer out here, end up bending this channel, and then they can't get the rubber in. So what you do is you hammer in here just like that, go along until this gap basically closes. And all you're doing is just conforming this aluminum trim to the shape of the glass. So just be patient with it. Okay, so I hammered along here using that aluminum plate, and I hammered along here. Hammer these two together. As you can see, there's no gap in here at all. And now all I have to do is just put that plate on, and that's what I'll do next. I do kind of have to repair this guy here. Somehow the screw broke inside of it, but I can repair it later. Right now I'm gonna put the plate on and just give you an overview of what it looks like with the gasket in it. Over here, the gasket kind of sticks out a little bit more than I wanted to. You can always trim it if it bothers you. In this case, it doesn't. I don't really care, but the rest of the gasket went right in fine. I'm not sure if there's some kind of gap here. I wouldn't think so, but anyway, it's in. Let me get the plate. I'll stick it on. That'll be the next step. So putting the plate on, again, it's got like an S to it. So it goes on just like this, where this flange sits on the outside of this. Putting it back the way it went on. But these don't have to be super, super tight. Don't forget the washer that goes on it. Use one of these star washers. Hold in place, and they're kind of concaved. So they go onto, they go onto this bolt like this. Oh, my gloves are gonna be in the way, but you can see how it goes on. Put them in backwards, it's just not gonna work out for you. Just snug. Just snug. You don't want to hit it too tight or tighten it, because this is aluminum. Aluminum's very soft. You start torquing this down, you're gonna lose the threads in it. So that's done. And now we can take off our clamp. And we're good shape. It's holding in together pretty good. It looks awesome. All right, next step, we're gonna address the hardware. First thing I want to take off is this knob here. And this knob is meant to, if you need to, you can tighten this down and this will lock it in place, which is pretty genius. It's got like little teeth in here to help it lock. So that way this thing's not flopping around when you have it open. But first we're gonna take off this tiny little screw here. You can see it there. Take that off. And all this is meant to do is hold the knob in place. What I mean is, now the screw out, you can actually unscrew this whole thing. But when the screw's in here, it'll stop you from unscrewing it all the way out. That's all it's for. And this is brass on the inside of it. It's not all plastic, which is pretty cool. The plastic wouldn't last if you were to screw in the plastic, so. And with that taken out, now you can pull out this screw here. It's got flats on the bottom. You can see it here, it's got flats. The flats are meant to go in these flats to lock it in so this screw doesn't spin. And this has a pretty cool nut that sits in here. And this has flats on it too. You can see it. It's got flats on it too, and this flat's locking to this here top piece. And that's how it comes apart. Here's the teeth I was talking about that locks it in, holds it in place. Awesome. Now you can take your pin here and knock that out if you need to. Same thing with this guy. You can take this pin, knock it out. But this is not damaged or anything like that. So I'm just gonna clean this up, put it all back together, and then install it onto the glass. Okay, now that we clean this mechanism up nice and shiny, I need to install it onto here, that hole back there. Your mechanism always goes on the inside of the hinge here. So try not to get that confused. Some people do it backwards, but I don't know why. Anyway, we'll flip this around, get a better look. Install it here. Install in that hole right there. You can see it. Kind of hard to see. That hole. So let me get the stuff for it. So the old pin's kind of jacked up, as you can see. I didn't want to put that back in. I mean, you can always paint it, make it look like something else, but I figured I would splurge and get a nice new one. See what that looks like. This is the part number if you care to get one. But brand new, spanking new. Compared to the old one, it's basically the same thing. And now for the rubber pieces. So it comes with two rubber pieces. The rubber pieces are this part number for the seals. Comes like that, one flat, one with a boss to it. And the boss goes on the outside. All right, this is your main seal. So this is the outside. Underneath here is the outside of the window. So we just push it in. You want to make sure that the boss goes through the hole properly. Flatten it out, press it with your finger. And this flat washer goes out there. So your pin goes on the outside, of course. You push that through and you put this on top. Now you're ready for this guy to go on here. And it will swivel, so you don't have to put it on there perfect. So let me grab some tools. As you know, there's a C-clip that goes in there. And it'd be kind of tedious for me to show you up close. A lot of jumping around, so I won't show that, but I'll install it and I'll let you guys take a look. Okay, install the hardware. C-clip is in, won't come out. Spins pretty good. It's sealed. And so the next step will be to add the I call it the T gasket that goes around here. It slips right in. Everybody has a different technique to get those in. I'll show you what I do. So here what I'll do is I'll stick one edge of this into the groove first. And then I'll take this plastic tool here and kind of press in. And what you want to do is get it into the other groove, basically just like this. Just like that. And you just go along the whole way of the trim. Just by doing that, it'll go in once you start wiggling it back and forth. As you can see, that went in further. It'll go in, and you do that the whole perimeter of the whole window. And I know it's a little bit of a tedious job, and you may get some waviness. As you can see right here, there's a little bit of waviness. You may get some waviness, but you should be able to adjust this while it's in here. if you need be, just to get the waves out. But the waves will eventually come out. Once you install inside the car, you won't even see the waviness at all. So I wouldn't worry about that. But anyway, hopefully this helps you guys out to restore a whole pop-out window. Just be patient with it. Just takes a little bit of time, but came out pretty good. And if you want to have an extra precaution, you can always add sealant in here, just onto the outside. This is this guy. Sealant along here. It's rare that these things really leak. If you're blasting water that much, then there's a problem. But anyway, please like, subscribe, and comment. And thank you for watching.